call is now being recorded.
What's up, everybody? It's your man Artic in the building once again. And I'm alongside, he's all the way in Oklahoma, and I'm in Baltimore, but I'm digitally alongside SynGuard Superior in the building.
Yep.
And this is the Channel 10 podcast, which is being brought to you today by Audible, where you can get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial. All you have to do is go to audibletrial.com/channel10, and then you'll get over 150,000 titles to choose from, where you can listen to them on your iPhone, your Android, your Kindle, or your MP3 player. And you can get your read on through listening. And in addition, if you want to support our podcast, you can go to channel10podcast.com. And when you go there, there is a link for Amazon. And if you click on that link, and if you order anything from Amazon, make sure you click that link. And whatever you order, we'll get a small commission from it at no cost to you. And it'll go to us to help us keep the podcast going. So, yeah, do that. And let's start the show.
Feeling is here.
Yeah, son, you feel it, man. What up, son? We gotta just do it, yo.
CNN.
Yo, what up, man? It's a different channel, son. What up, on, man. What up? Watch the channel, son. Different plane now, man.
It's all good.
What up? All good, baby, in every hood, son. What up, yo?
CNN, Network, Channel 10, it's on again. Street niggas, it's grown men. Bold face, gat in your face. Stay in place, yo, crime lace. Cast more beef than Scarface. CNN, Network, Channel 10, it's on again. Street niggas, that's grown men. Bold face, gat in your face. Stay in place, yo, crime
Call is now being recorded.
So, how have you been, man? How's everything?
Man, everything is good, pretty much. You know, just trying to escape the Oklahoma heat and music and research. That's pretty much about it. What about yourself?
Man, I've just been busy. Like I was telling you earlier off air, I drove 71 plus miles today. And that's just around Baltimore City and a little bit of Baltimore County, just a regular day. But, you know, I'm not complaining. I'm here strong, making it. Survived July 4th, the Independence Day of this great nation, which was not the Independence Day of our people, but I guess that's another story to be told by some other people. But yeah, we here just doing what we doing. We have new microphones. We have new recording set up. We about to vamp up this podcast and get it popping. So I'm definitely excited.
Yeah. Well, if you will, can you share your experience on the 4th of July at Six Flags?
Oh yeah, so yeah, Six Flags, man, 4th of July. Actually, we went on the 3rd of July, the day before.
Okay.
So it was myself, it was my girlfriend, it was her mother, my girlfriend's kids, and my girlfriend, well, I guess, you know, some over there half the time anyway, our neighbor. So we went down there in 2 cars, and it's crazy because, you know, I haven't been to Six Flags, and I'm going to sound like a real old man when I say this, but I haven't been to Six Flags in probably, let's say 11 years. And I felt real old when I said it to somebody, like, yo, I haven't been here in 11 years, like, damn. But, and I, you know, just a bit of backstory, I always said that I would never go back to an amusement park unless I was there to get paid, because I had a bad experience where I hit my head on a water ride and I had a concussion for over a week. But, you know, My girlfriend, she really wanted to go because she hasn't been to an amusement park in a long time, and the kids, they wanted to go and everything. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I got my gold membership pass. I got my ID to Six Flags to where I can go anytime I want. Yes, I do have a Six Flags ID now, with my picture on it. So we went, and it just brought back all these memories of when you and I used to go when we were younger. Because you used to go every year with what was it, Easterwood Park Recreation Center?
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then I would go as your chaperone, but we used to just go and just chill, like, so you wouldn't have to be with the group. So the first ride that we went on was Roar, and I remember me and you, we went on there like 3 times back to back, like we would do that. And I remember that one time we were talking shit to the people who were the ride attendants or whatever. And I don't know if you remember that time when they were like, yo, we're going to make this a water ride. And they started throwing water at us as the roller coaster went off.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so I was thinking about all that. But mind you, it's been 11 years since I've been on a roller coaster. So my girl, she's like, yeah, we about to get on all the rides. We about to get on all these roller coasters. Mind you, before this, she knew I wasn't really rocking with amusement parks and all that. And I wasn't really messing with going on roller coasters. And I said this even before I went so nobody would get it confused. I'm not going on mad roller coasters. I'm not going on no crazy roller coasters. So she's like, oh yeah, we going on all the rides. So I'm sitting there, and so we go on Roar first. And Roar is the wooden roller coaster. And so, real talk, even though all these other roller coasters have all these fancy drops and all these fancy upside down things, Roar and the other wooden one, but especially Roar, they're the scariest ones because they're made of wood and you feel like this shit's about to break, and they're just mad loud and rickety feeling. So I get in, I'm strapped in, I'm next to my girl, and real talk, I'm kind of bitching out. I'm like, I can't believe I'm here right now. I'm like, yo, I told you I'm not getting on the roller coasters, and now I'm here and I can't get out. And I'm just like, just going, like, I'm really thinking out loud, like all the thoughts in my mind. And my girl was like, you're making me nervous, blah, 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 like, okay, we don't do no more, whatever. So the roller coaster takes off. We go up. We go down the first drop. After the first drop, I'm like, oh, I remember this. This is kind of fun. So my girl starts freaking out while we ride, and she wasn't like screaming nothing like that. But, I could tell she was not really feeling it. But I started getting used to it. So we just riding. And then, I see that she, had her glasses off, and she's kind of like, not in a very good state as this roller coaster ride is going. And I'm just like, babe, you alright? You okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm good. But she wasn't really good. And so, like, as it goes on, I'm kind of feeling a little bit more. So I'm like, whoa, and all that. And after the ride, she's like, I'm not going on any more of those roller coasters, nothing like that. And she didn't get on any more, and I was ready to go. So, I ended up getting on a Superman and the Joker's Jinx after that, and we probably going to go back. Well, no, we definitely going to go back in a couple weeks. So I'm going to get on a couple more. But it's interesting going back now that I'm older. Like, even though they have all these drops and stuff like that, they're not as scary as they were when I was younger. And now they have new ones that I want to try. Like, they have this thing called the Apocalypse, where you're standing up and you go upside down and do all this crazy stuff. So I'm about to try that one. And I might even try this other joint they have. It's not really a roller coaster. It just goes in a circle, but it goes like around, upside down, and back and forth. So I'm probably going to get on that too. So we had a good time. And, our neighbor who was out there, he was mad funny because he was on every roller coaster, he had his phone in his hand and he was like recording himself and FaceTiming people while he was on the roller coaster. So we were on the Superman. My girl didn't go on it, so we went on the Superman and the Joker's Jinx together. So on the Superman, he's FaceTiming and recording himself. Matter of fact, I could get the video from him. And then on the Joker's Jinx, we're going upside down everything. He got the phone in his hand and he's recording. But you know, we had a real good time. Like another part that they had, which we never went to, they have this room that you go in with all of these styrofoam balls. And like, it's called like the something warehouse. I forget what it is. But you go in there and there's all these kids just wilding out. And they're throwing styrofoam balls at each other. So you just pick them up and start throwing them. And then you realize that there's styrofoam balls coming from other places. So you look up and they have like these, like there's another level to it. And these people have these turrets. And they're shooting styrofoam balls like out of these like big guns at your head. And it's just crazy. But yeah, definitely had a good Six Flags trip. Not mad at it, and you know, not mad at going back either.
Well, I will say for our subscribers and new listeners for this episode, I will say if you don't know this man, he was really adamant about not going to an amusement park ever again. And the interesting thing about what you're telling me about your experience is the fact that you went on the Superman, and I'm pretty sure that till this day, being my age, I think I've never been on a Superman before, and I believe the one time I did want to go, you stopped me from going on it.
Oh man, I probably did because there were a couple times when I used to go to Six Flags and that ride would be stuck, and I'm like, yo, we not getting stuck on that. But like, matter of fact, the last time I went, the time I hit my head, that was the time I just wowed out, and I just went on everything. And I think the second to last roller coaster I went on that time was the Superman. I was like, hold up, this ain't that bad. Like, it's really not as bad as something like Roar because you feel more strapped in and secure, and the noises aren't that loud, and because it's metal, it doesn't feel as rickety. So, like, my only fear on that ride was my glasses falling off, and they kind of like went up a little bit, but they like kind of stayed on my head. Like, on Roar, you're really afraid of the wood breaking and you flying off somewhere. On Superman, you're just like, oh, I'm just on a ride going real fast. So it really wasn't that bad. But like, what I didn't go on was the Batman joint. I think before I hit my head that time, I went on the Batman, and that one kind of had me shook. And I was like, all right, I ain't messing with no roller coasters. We going on the water slides. I went on them dangerous ass water slides. And that's when I ended up hitting my head. But next time we go, we're going to the water park, and that should be interesting because I've almost drowned in the water park at least twice before. Especially one time when somebody had to actually save me in a wave pool. And then there was a time when, you know, going on the water slide, I hit my head and got a concussion. So I'm staying away from the water slides, definitely.
I mean, well, it seems like overall, your return to Six Flags has been more psychological than it has been amusing, I guess, for lack of a better term. It seems like the way you're explaining this, and since you know I know you so well, a lot of these things, your experiences that you've had recently, they're all you kind of conquering your you know the fears that have been kind of you know set in when you were a teenager or whatever like that.
I guess kind of in a way, but some of it, I mean, because I've always been afraid of roller coasters, but every time I went to Six Flags, I would go on more and more and more, even though, like, I had this big fear of them or whatever. I still, of course you have a fear of something that's going that fast and you're just in this thing and it gets stuck sometimes and, sometimes freak accidents happen and, that's kind of like the thing I'm always thinking about. But I think my thing was a sense of pride. Like, you niggas did this shit to me. Fuck you. You're not getting my bread. You're giving me bread the next time I come here. Like, I think that's more the attitude that I had with it. Like, I felt slighted, and I felt like they really did something to me, and I felt like I wanted to just like blow that place up.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I had a good time, and the kids had a good time. Everything was great, so I'm not mad.
And I think another thing too is that you've known people who have operated these types of rides, and the type of people they are too, and so I'm sure that probably hasn't helped with your assessment of how amusement parks are ran too.
That time I did hit my head, I'm 99% sure because I've talked to the person. My homegirl, we were talking, and she used to work at Six Flags, and she used to work in the water park, and she kind of, from my memory, looks like the girl who was working the ride, and the way that I was describing how she acted, which was, I asked her, are we in here correctly? And she was like, yeah, go, do whatever. And she was just kind of laying there half asleep with her sunglasses on. So I was explaining that, and she was like, oh yeah, that's probably me. Because I used to work there at that time, during that year, during that particular summer, and I used to work in the water park. And so it's very weird that me and that same person ended up becoming friends, years after the incident happened. And then she's telling me like about the whole, how it is working there. I mean, real talk, she used to tell me like crazy stuff. Like, she said that, she wouldn't even be working sometimes. Like, she would just go back and just be fucking.
And it's one thing if you're working at, I don't know, McDonald's or something, but if you're working at an amusement park, you would think that these types of people who are controlling these crazy ass contraptions would be actually a bit serious, because they know that in certain ways, these people's lives are in their hands.
Yeah, from this experience, everybody seemed on point. They were on their game. I don't know how it is in the water park. Maybe it's a bit different. But the water rides are a little bit dangerous, so you would kind of expect them to be a little bit more on their game than the people who aren't in the water park. But, like, I'm going to tell you a story. We were on this kiddie roller coaster. And, it's funny how, like, you can always spot the Baltimore nigga wherever you go. Even though we're in Maryland, like, we're in PG County, we're out Largo or whatever. That's where Six Flags is, but, or, like near Largo type of area. So, there's this kiddie roller coaster, and there's guys on there with his kids or whatever, and I guess his glasses fall off or something. So he asked the ride attendant, can you get my glasses? The ride attendant is like, no, we told you to secure your items or whatever. And, the park closes at 9. That's when we collect things and all that. So I guess this guy, he's like, fuck that. So he's like, I'm going to get my stuff. So he hops off of the roller coaster, off of the little kiddie roller coaster, into like the middle to get his sunglasses or his hat or whatever it was. And so the ride attendant, she's very cool, calm, collected, and professional. And she's like, okay, well, I'm going to call security now. Have a great day. Thank you for visiting Six Flags. And she gives somebody a high five. And she goes and calls security. Like, just real smooth with it. Like,
That's interesting.
yeah, I mean, so many stories from that day. It was a great day. We're gonna go back. I think August 1st, because you know, it's around the time of the kids' birthdays and everything. So we're gonna have a good time. So I'm looking forward to that.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
You talked about the Roar quite a bit. Now, do you think the Roar is as scary as the Wildcat?
You talking about the Wildcat at Kings Dominion?
I thought it was at Hershey Park.
Oh, Hershey Park. The Wildcat was the one that went forward and then backwards?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And that way, and it was rickety as shit. Like, I mean, and I think randomly one time when you were over my house, we were talking about amusement parks, and I think we looked up, I think we Wikipedia'd the year where certain things were built, and I think we looked at the Wildcat and how old it was. And it's a rather old ride.
I mean, that Wildcat experience was crazy. Especially because we were so young. I don't even remember how we ended up at Six Flags. I mean, at Hershey Park that time. I just remember we were with your brother and some other family members, probably. Weren't we with him?
I don't recall ever being with him. I think Easterwood. I think we had like we went to Hershey Park for whatever reason one summer, and then we went to Hershey Park I think for like a family thing one time.
Yeah, we were with her.
With who?
I said we were with your brother.
I mean, well, it wasn't with him though. I think it was like a larger family thing.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it was a family reunion. We need to check on that. I have no idea.
Yeah, I remember going on that with like either your brother or his wife or the kids or something, and yeah, that was something. Yeah, that was definitely, you know. Yeah, the Wildcat might have been. See, I think the Wildcat was a bit quicker than Roar because it gave you like a time to chill. Like it went forward real quick and then it went backwards real quick, and it was all in a straight line. But the thing with Roar is like you're going on this thing, and like there's certain parts where it looks like part of the ride is going to hit you in your head, and you kind of duck. So I think that aspect of it makes Roar just a little bit more scary than that Wildcat. But the Wildcat is no joke because it goes backwards. But the Fireball, that's what it's called. Next time I go, I'm probably going to get on the Fireball. And that thing is just a circle. And it's just a roller coaster that just goes in a circle and it goes around and up and down and back. And like you go forwards and backwards on this thing. And that backwards aspect of it. Now, I'm not sure if it was Hershey Park or Kings Dominion where they have that one. It's like a water ride where you get into this boat and like it has 3 different drops and like you go into the thing and I think it randomly selects whether you're going to go down the drop forwards or backwards. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's King's Dominion.
Yeah. I think we went on that a couple times. I remember being there with you and going down that a couple times.
Yeah. On a very short technical note, is Yvera still working for you?
Yep, it is.
Okay, Yvera has crashed on me twice.
Oh man, yep, I'm 24 minutes in.
Alright, let's hope it stays that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I've been to King's Dominion maybe like twice through Easterwood because I know sometimes they were like switch it up, and I think you went with me both those times. Well, all those times.
I just remember one time going to some bootleg. Well, no, matter of fact, one time we were supposed to go to some place called Dorney Park, but the guy went the wrong way, and we ended up at like Kings Dominion or Hershey Park or something. I don't know where we ended up at, or maybe we were supposed to go somewhere and ended up at some place called Dorney Park.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
But if it was Dorney Park, whatever park it wasn't that bad though.
Yeah. You're good at time anywhere, man. Like, I mean, we've been to hella amusement parks, and then just Ocean City. Like, we had a lot of fun out there them times that we went. Like, I know that Ocean City probably doesn't seem as appealing to you now,
No, it doesn't.
but like certain places, I'm kind of curious to experience now that I'm older and see like what it's like and everything like that.
I will say about I've realized that I've kind of I think I'm at the stage now where I've started kind of looking back at my college years with a little bit of nostalgia.
Oh man.
And it kind of had me thinking a little bit about certain things on the Eastern Shore, and with Ocean City, I think right now Ocean City at least, not Princess Anne, not Easton, anywhere like that though. I don't think I would exactly mind going back, but not for of course not for the beach though, because I'm still not a beach goer. I wouldn't mind going on the boardwalk, and we really never got a chance to really laser tag the way that we really wanted to, because whenever when we tried to do it, it was always some type of shit that happened that kind of
yeah.
And then we had to like settle for miniature golf.
I mean, when I went with our cousin that time, we had a good ass time.
Oh, so y'all laser tag when y'all went?
Matter of fact, we did laser tag. I killed it in laser tag. I believe I killed it in laser tag. You gotta ask him, but from my recollection, I killed it in laser tag and mini golf.
Okay.
And I killed it in air hockey.
Okay, well,
So
I know
I have
you
the
killed me.
championship. I have the championship in air hockey, laser tag, and mini golf. I think nobody can touch me in any of these three areas.
Okay, well, yeah, you killed me in miniature golf. I don't know, but I think sometimes whenever we went head to head in air hockey, it was kind of like a draw sometimes.
Yeah.
But you would do that like the crazy shit when you would have like the puck bouncing like 10 times before it even got to my goal, and I didn't know which way it was coming.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Because I hit it to the side real fast, and it just goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And see, if it's in the middle enough to where it's both of our territory, and if you are, sometimes you'll be looking at the puck like, what's the puck going to do? But I'm looking at the puck like, what am I going to do to the puck? So I just hit the puck straight down the middle. Boom. Right there. Goal.
Okay, well there you go. Some air hockey pointers on the Hip Hop Podcast.
You already know. I'm the air hockey champion. Can't nobody see me. I'm taking all comers. I'm taking all bets. Everything. Come see me. I'll shut you down. Air hockey. Also, foosball. Nobody can see me in foosball in the world. I'm just letting you know.
All right. Well, whenever I get my own house, I guess a larger house and more money, I wouldn't mind having an air. I think I would get an air hockey table.
Man, if you get that, I will shut it down. I think certain things like, I think air hockey table would be like a perfect component to a studio. Like, I remember when I was going to, I've been in Baseline Studio a couple times. Rest in peace to Baseline. But like, I remember I used to walk in and they had like this little lounge area, and they had like this part that had a pool table and all that. And I was like, damn, like, I can just imagine the Rockefeller sessions where, somebody be in Studio A, somebody be in Studio B, and somebody just be, just chilling at the pool table or something like that. So, sometimes I think about how I'll build my perfect studio. And I'll probably have a pool table, like an air hockey table, maybe some foosball, maybe like one of them chessboard tables or something like that.
Yeah.
It's something where you can just, get your mind right after you laid some bars or whatever.
I mean, yeah, it's interesting, especially if you look at a lot of these different businesses that really they really have innovative ways when it comes to productivity, like Google. Google, and they have all these different things for their employees to do.
It was crazy is in the building where I work, there's some office, and when you walk in and you look in there, when you look in their door, you can see that they have a pool table there, and I always wonder, like, what the fuck do they do in there? Like, that job must be not dope, of course, because it's a job, but probably doper than the job that I have to go into every day.
I mean, well, you never really do. I mean, look at when they would do those kind of exposés on Google's employees, and a lot of them, even like with a lot of startup companies in the Valley, a lot of them say that they wanted to work because they had everything there between, daycare, extracurricular activities. They were able to work, maybe an hour or two on their own personal projects, and they had free beer.
I mean, what else do you need, really?
I mean, but if you think about it, it's kind of fucked up. Like, it's a ploy to get you to work even more for them and not for yourself.
It is. Yeah, it is. I mean, I feel exactly how you feel, but like if I was a worker, like if I had a worker mind state and they were providing all this for me, and I halfway enjoy my job, it would be like, what could be better than this? Because, like, even when you look at certain places, especially like during like the Industrial Revolution and shortly after that and everything, certain factories would build towns just so their workers could live there. And I think it was NPR I was listening to recently where they were talking about some guy in some town. He had some type of factory building something. And he basically had a factory, and he made a whole city where all his workers worked, and he treated them great, and they all loved it. And I think the city is still there. The factory, has since gone out of business, and I think the place has since descended into squalor and all that. But it sounds like a good deal, when you're starting off. But I don't know, like if I did have that worker mind state, I would want to be in a place that I felt like treated me at least halfway fairly,
Yeah, that's true. And that kind of reminds me of Fordlandia. Remember that?
Fordlandia.
Yeah, it's the Ford, the guy that created the Ford cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had that island. He really only wanted it for rubber production and stuff like that. And he made pretty much an American city out of this island, but he didn't, they didn't know how to properly plant rubber trees, and he wanted to control the city on his own terms, which meant that they couldn't drink and they couldn't really, build like the females on the island, and so it didn't always work out.
I mean that's the whole thing. Like the thing about it, if you're trying to create something like that, you can't have some type of dictatorship over what people do in their personal lives. And I think that's the problem. Like when you're employed by somebody else. And I know I'm sounding real Dame Dash-esque right now, but like, you really have to work for yourself and get it, because if you're working, like especially like if you're in a situation where you're making a paycheck and then you're paying your rent to a company that's owned by the company that you work for, you're whole life is subject to certain rules. And it's like, at the end of the day, fuck the rules. I do what I do because that's what works for me.
I mean, yeah, but then the thing about Dame Dash is that even if you want to get really technical, you can go into the whole idea of him paying taxes and how he's pretty much he has to show his whole soul to the IRS and stuff like that. So, who is really ever free?
I mean, who is really ever free? And it's crazy that you say that because this is supposedly the freest place where you can be. But, that question that you just asked takes you down the rabbit hole of libertarianism to where, why do we have government? Why do we have states? Why do we have countries? Period. Why do we have any of this shit?
I mean, well, I'm not gonna lie, man, and we've had we've had these conversations over and over again, kind of, sorta, and I can't help but be kind of Hobbesian, toward this whole idea. I really don't think that people should be governing themselves all like that. Maybe to a certain extent, and even when I mean that, maybe by like different districts, but not like in the sense of how we do it now. To a certain extent, like maybe kind of like in ancient Rome. When Rome was split between the like Eastern Roman Empire and the Western Roman Empire and stuff like that.
That was after a certain point, yeah.
Yeah, but then that didn't even work out. So I don't know. People are just fucked up.
I mean, the whole thing is, and the whole philosophy behind, I guess the libertarian ethos that I kind of believe in is, it's the use of force, and it all has to deal with the use of force, and basically you can't force somebody to do anything, and you can kind of do whatever you want as long as it doesn't infringe on somebody else's freedom.
Well,
you think about it in that perspective, everything, like anything that you can think of, falls into that. Like, are you infringing on somebody else's rights or freedom? Like environmental rights, gay rights, race rights, whatever that you want to think about, it all comes down to, are you infringing upon somebody else's freedom? That's the only law that there needs to be. Basically, like how, I don't know if Jesus said this or not, but if Jesus said it or something like it, treat others the way that you want to be treated, the golden rule. That's the only law that you need.
I mean, well, that makes a lot of sense, and if you look at other countries, how they treat certain things like drugs and prostitution, it makes a lot of sense. And but one thing that I do have like an issue with is this idea of smoking.
Mm-hmm.
And how apparently, if you're smoking outside, you're just this horrible person, but at the same time, you're paying the same taxes that paves these roads and so on and so forth. And the whole idea of secondhand smoke till this day still isn't really, the jury is still out on that.
I mean, the whole thing is, like you just said, the jury's still out on it. So, should government be involved in any of this?
I don't think so. And one thing I will say is that I believe that Obama shouldn't have sent that letter or whatever he did to what was it, CVS, when they stopped selling tobacco products.
I didn't know. I think it might have been Walgreens who did that. It was one of them two, but I think it was Walgreens because they pretty much the same store to me. But Walgreens is the one that.
Yeah, no, it was CVS because.
CVS?
Yeah, because I can still get cigars at Walgreens. I did it a month ago.
Oh shit.
And I thought that was pretty wrong. I really don't think he should have did that.
Well, see, I think it depends on if he was sending a letter or if the White House was sending a letter. If he was sending the letter as a private citizen, you have every right to do that. But if you're the government pressuring a company to do this or whatever, then it may become a problem. Like, if the government is just voicing its opinion, they have the right to do that because of free speech. But if they're threatening you in some type of way, then it might become a problem.
I mean, I think anything that the president does is threatening. I mean, he's the leader of the free world.
There is no free world.
I mean, there isn't a free world. But I mean, if you go into the layman's terms, then there is one. You know.
I mean, I think that's true. Anything that the president does is threatening, and I think that's where the problem lies. Like, I don't know. Like, you know, I'm not as well read yet as I need to be in to my philosophical beliefs and agreements and things like this. So, you know, some things that I might say might not be completely well formed, but, you know, I really don't think that the president should be saying anything about any type of private matter. And when you really get into it deeply, like, I'm going to ask you a question. How do you feel about democracy?
The idea of democracy to me is cool, but it still doesn't solve the fact that humans just don't, you know, every human will not get along. And I think, you know, within this country, and especially in Greece, of all, you know, where democracy came from, direct democracy, you know, it just won't fully be something that exactly works.
And see, you know, it's funny. It's like a lot of libertarian podcasts. I've seen the titles, but I haven't like listened to them yet because I haven't had time. But you know, they deal directly with Greece. But like, when I think about democracy, I think about this. Let's say, you know, we're a group of 5 people, right? And we're trying to decide on what movie to go to. And we all agree that we'll take a vote. And whichever one gets the most votes is the movie that we'll go to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what if we're a group of 5 people and 2 of those people don't agree to those terms? But because the 3 people voted to go to a certain movie, these 2 people have to be subjected to that shit just because these other people said that this is the movie that we're going to go to, and they have to go to it because of a threat of a gun to their head. That's what democracy is. Because when you think about democracy, we're voting for certain politicians and the politicians are the ones who enact the laws. If you don't follow the laws, you're under the threat of a gun to your head. Because if you don't follow the law, you'll go to jail. And if you refuse to go to jail, they'll shoot you. So basically, you have to agree to certain terms that you might not agree to because of a certain democracy. Because certain people have voted for this to be into favor. And you really didn't agree to these terms. These terms are only there because you were born in a certain geographical area that was defined by the lines that the pro-black person, wants to say the white man, put on the map, but let's say the colonists, the European colonists, drew on the map. So you happen to be born into these certain lines that the European colonists drew on the map. Now, if you're in America, these might be the best lines ever in the history of the world. The greatest country that ever existed, drawn on the map. But still, regardless of those facts, not discrediting America as the greatest country, not saying any of the other shit that, you know, people say, you know, I would rather be here than anywhere else in the world, as far as I know right now. You know, but at the same time, you know, there could be a better system other than you were born here, so this is what it is. And if you're not with this, we're going to put a gun to your head, you know?
Yeah. And I think it's a good thing that you mentioned the whole idea of like being here and nowhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So far as you know, at least, because we do know that there are a lot of countries who are just like, you know, sincerely, they're just fucked.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like Greece, you know, I mean, you know, at least, you know, you were telling me about, you know, your financial activities, and you can freely, you know, take out hundreds of dollars at a time, where in Greece right now you can't do that.
Yeah.
And so sometimes, you know, when I do talk about these things, I mean, me myself, I do like to say that, but at the same time, like you said, that doesn't mean that it can't get better. And this goes into the whole idea that we were talking about this maybe some weeks ago, when it comes to how certain people say, you know, if you don't vote, then you don't have a right to talk about your country. But then at the same time, you're paying taxes, and you know you're fueling, you know, your state that you live in, as well as your federal government, and you don't have a say in what you say. I mean, you don't have a say in how it should be ran when you put money into it. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, and it's crazy, and you know, it just goes to the it goes to my belief that government, any type of governing body, when you really break it down, it's evil. Like, it's a bad thing. And at times it might be a necessary evil, but it's bad nonetheless. And, you know, as woke, quote unquote woke black people, we talk shit about America all day, whatever. But at the same time, you can't negate the fact that the founding fathers had a brilliant idea when they came up with the concept of this nation. And when you start to deviate from some of those concepts is when you start to mess things up, and when government starts to expand, I think that's when things get messed up. So what were you talking about just before I just went on my little mini rant? You were saying something. What were you saying?
I don't know. But I'm still on your rant though, and you know, if you go back into the history of how this nation was founded, and you know we've all talked about, if you look at the system and like the whole idea of how this government should be ran, it's really ingenious, actually. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, though, if you go into the people who made this country, and you know, and how it was supposed to be for the Southern gentry. You know, you weren't, you know, voting. The whole idea of voting, you had to have a certain amount of land. You had to be a certain age, which is, you know, I guess, which is still.
Feeling this here,
son.
You know,
Feel it, man. Word up, son. You gotta just do it, yo.
CNN.
Yo, word up, man. It's a different channel, son. Word up, on, man. Word up, watch the channel, son. Different plane now, man.
It's all good.
Word up, all good, baby, in every hood, son. Word up, yo.
CNN, Network, Channel 10, it's on again. Street niggas, it's grown men. Bold face, gat in your face. Stay in place, yo, crime lace. Cats more beef than Scarface. CNN, Network, Channel 10, it's on again. Street niggas, it's grown men. Bold face, gat